Donald Trump has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to step in and stop his sentencing scheduled for Friday in his hush money case in Manhattan. In case you needed a reminder, which you probably don't, this is the case involving the alleged hush money payouts to Stormy Daniels made by Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. A jury convicted Trump on 34 counts of felony business records. And this case has been through the ringer since the conviction. It was originally delayed because of the Supreme Court's decision about presidential immunity, in which the High Court ruled that presidents cannot be prosecuted for a quote unquote official acts taken while in office. This has gone back and forth between Trump and his lawyers in the court for months now. It was unclear whether the sentencing would ever happen. Now it's on the schedule for Friday, but Trump has made several efforts to stop that. First, he went to the appeals court in New York. He hasn't gotten what he wants there. And so now he's going to the Supreme Court in D.C., which of course is the same court that issued that original presidential immunity ruling. It's really unclear what will happen here, but all Trump is looking for is a stay. He's not asking the Supreme Court to get rid of the conviction. He's just asking for the sentencing to be delayed. The issue with that, according to the Manhattan DA and to the trial judge, Juan Merchan, is that even a delay of 10 days will effectively mean that Trump may never be sentenced, because everyone involved with the case acknowledges that when Trump becomes the president of the United States, he can't be hauled into Manhattan court, even virtually via video, to do this sentencing. So the current plan is to, on Friday morning, have Trump appear via a video feed for a sentencing proceeding that is supposed to last maybe an hour or two. I wouldn't expect the Supreme Court in DC to issue some sort of massive ruling here on the merits of whether the hush money payment was an official act or anything like that. They're just being asked to look at this narrow question of, is there enough here to effectively freeze this sentencing? It would be very extraordinary and unusual for the Supreme Court to do something like this, but this case is also completely uncharted and historic, so it's impossible to tell you exactly what will happen. We are preparing for the possibility of a Friday sentencing, and if that does happen, it will essentially cement Trump's status as the only convicted felon to ever be elected president. It will also allow Trump to go through with his appeal, which he says he wants to do. Any defendant in a criminal case cannot appeal until they are sentenced. So Trump says he wants to appeal the case, and there may be some grounds for the case to be appealed, but that can't happen unless he's sentenced. One thing that's important to note here is that the trial judge has indicated that he will not sentence Trump to really anything. He's going to give Trump what's called an unconditional discharge. In other words, that's the most lenient sentence imaginable. No jail, no fine, no probation, no anything, which obviously makes sense because Trump has been elected president, and we can't have someone who is president checking in with their probation officer and like making him pay a fine at this point is sort of pointless. That's one thing that's important to note. If this sentencing happens, Trump will not face any jail time or any other sentence. Trump is not happy with the situation and does not want to be there, and does not, I mean, he feels that the case should never have been brought. But in terms of the range of outcomes for a defendant in a criminal case, this is as good as it gets for Trump. No penalty whatsoever. He goes in there, he will have the chance to say something at the sentencing if he wants, and then 10 days later is inauguration day, and he'll become the president.